Okay, I'm going over the answers for our practice problems. I've already graded the problems, so now I'm actually just about to go over the answers so you can check your work. R is the scale factor, which means we multiply both numbers by the scale factor of 2. So we have 2 times 0 is 0. 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 0 is 0. 2 times 5 is 10. And 2 times 4 is 8. So now I'm going to plot all of those points on a coordinate grid. 0, 6 is here, labeled at A prime. We have 4, 0, labeled at B prime. And then 10, 8 is here, we labeled at C prime. Now all we do is connect the vertices. Now what we know here that the shape should be the exact same because it's a number that is greater than 1. Since 2 is greater than 1, we know that this is an enlargement. Okay? So check your answers. Let's move on. The next one says trapezoid RSTU. It has coordinates listed below, and it's a dilation of 1/2. So that means all of our pre-images, which is the one without the prime notation, we're going to divide it by 2. Divided by 2 is the same thing as multiplying by half. I will show the multiplication on the side for 8. So you have -8. -8. I'm going to place that over 1, and I'm going to multiply it times 1/2. I'm going to multiply across. -8 times 1 is -8. 1 times 2 is 2. 2 goes into -8 a -4 times. So it's basically like taking half of the number. So this is -4, -4. Half of -2 is -1. Half of a +2 is 1. Half of 6 is 3. Half of 2 is 1. Half of 6 is 3. Half of -8 is -4. Now I'm going to plot all of these points on our coordinate grid. So -4, -4. 1, 2, 3, 4 is here. And we're going to label that R prime. Then we have -1, +1. That's S prime. Then we have +3, +1. That's T prime. And we have +3, -4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's here. And that's U prime. And now we're going to connect our vertices. Here. Okay, so now we connected our vertices, which means it should look just like the original, but it should be smaller because the number is less than 1. Because this is less than 1, we have a reduction. This is a reduction. Okay? All right, so now we're going to this one. It says, which scale factor best describes the transformation? So in order to do that, I need to pick a point off of R and R prime. I could do any one. I could do U or U prime, T or T prime, S or S prime. But this last answer was a mistake, so this should actually be 1/3. Okay, so I'm going to take this order pair. The point for R is, let's see, we're at -1, 2, -3, 6. So -3, +6. And for R prime, we're at -1, +2. R prime, -1, +2. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one for my image, because remember, scale factor, the formula is to take the image and divide it by the pre-image. Okay, so image divided by pre-image. So I'm going to take the y coordinate, because remember our order pair is written in the form of x comma y. So I'm going to take the y coordinate, which is the second coordinate from each one. I'm going to start with R prime, which is 2, and divide that by r, which is 6. So I have r prime divided by r, and that gives me 2 over 6. The greatest common factor, if I list 2 and 6, the factors of 2 are 1 and 2. The factors of 6 are 1, 2, 3, and 6. The greatest factor that they both have in common is 2. So 2 is my GCF. This is my greatest common factor. Focus, camera, focus. There you go, you see it. So the GCF is 2. Okay? So now I'm going to divide both the numerator and denominator by 2 to find the scale factor. 2 goes into itself once and into 6 3 times. So the answer is D, 1/3. Okay? Here it says, which scale factor best describes the transformation? Again, we have to do the same process. The image divided by the pre-image. So we have the image divided by the pre-image. Okay, so now I'm going to pick 2 points. I'm going to use A and A prime. Okay, so the order pair for A prime is 0, 8. The order pair for 8 is 0, 4. Okay, so I have A prime divided by A, and I'm also going to use the Y coordinate, which is the second term. Image is 4, pre-image is, no, image is 8, sorry. Image is 8, and pre-image is 4. So 4 goes into 8 2 times. So that's a fraction, so that actually means 8 divided by 4, which equals 2. Okay? Hence, our correct answer is A. Okay? All right, let's look on. It says dilate the coordinates using a scale factor. Now remember, to dilate the coordinates using a scale factor, you multiply each term by the coordinates. So, let's see if I can get my phone straight. Okay, here we go. So 5 times 5 and 4 times 5. So 5 times 5 is 25. 4 times 5 is 20. Make sure you put your order pairs inside parentheses and label this A prime, because now we've actually applied the scale factor. Here, negative 16 and 4, using the scale factor 1/4. I'm going to do this on the back because I'm going to show my work here. The order pair is negative 16, 4. The scale factor is 1/4. So I'm going to multiply each number by the fraction 1/4. Either place this over 1 and multiply across. Negative 16 times 1 is negative 16. 1 times 4 is 4. A negative divided by a positive is a negative. So negative 16 divided by 4 is a negative 4. Okay? So I mean our first term in our order pair is negative 4. So we have negative 4. And our next term is 4. So we have 4 over 1 times 1/4. Multiply across. 4 times 1 is 4. 1 times 4 is 4. 4 divided by 4 equals 1. So my order pair is negative 4, positive 1. And that's going to be C prime. So C prime is negative 4, positive 1. Okay. Now here we are multiplying. We had some trouble on here. So I'm going to do 6 and 8 on the back. So 6 says B is 7/10. So B is the order pair 7/10, and has a scale factor of 1.5. Okay, or 1 and 5/10. So the decimal tells us it's an and, so 1 and 5/10. So we can write this as 1 and 5/10. 1 and 5/10 is the same as 1 and 1/2, because 5 goes into 5 one time. 5 goes into 10 two times. So this is actually a fraction, 1 and 1/2, a mixed number. I could change this mixed number to an improper fraction by multiplying the denominator times the whole number. So multiply, add the numerator, and keep the same denominator. Then follow order of operations. So 2 times 1 is 2. 2 plus 1 is 3 over 2. So 1.5 or 1 5/10 is equivalent to 3/2. Okay? So now I'm going to actually take this 3/2 and multiply it by each of these numbers. So 7 times 3/2. Remember, I place this over 1 and I multiply it across. 7 times 3 is 21. And 1 times 2 is 2. Now I want to see how many times does 2 go into 21. 2 goes into 21 10 times. 10 times 2 is 20. I subtract, I have a remainder of 1. So now write my next number. 10 is my whole number. The remainder is my numerator. Over the existing denominator is 2. So it's 10 and 1/2. So the first term for B prime would be 10 and 1/2. Or 10.5. It's the same thing. So now I'm going to also use the scale factor 3/2 and multiply it times 10. So I place 10 over 1, multiply it by 3/2, and multiply across. 10 times 3 is 30. 1 times 2 is 2. 2 goes into 30. 1 time, and that gives you 2. Subtract, you get 1. Bring down your 0. 2 goes into 10 5 times. No remainder. Therefore, it's 15. So now the ordered pair for my image is 10 and 1/2, 15. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and write that here. The number 6 is 10 and 1/2 and 15 for B prime. Okay, now for D, we're multiplying it by 2/3. We have -6 and -12. So let's turn this over. We have D is -6, -12. Yep, and the scale factor is 2/3. So now I'm going to take each of these numbers, and multiply it by the scale factor. So -6 times 2 over 3. Remember, place this over 1 and multiply across. -6 times a +2 is a -12. 1 times 3 is 3. Then we see how many times 3 goes into -12. And it goes into -4 times. So that first term for D prime is -4. Now we want to multiply -12 times 2/3. Place -12 over 1. Multiply across. A negative times a positive is a negative. +2 times -12 is -24. And 1 times 3 is 3. And we say 3 goes into 24. I know my answer is going to be negative, because a negative divided by a positive is a negative. And I know that 8 times 3 is 24. So I don't have a remainder. And it's -8. So -8 for D prime. All right, let's turn this back over and write our answer on our paper. So we have D prime is -4, -8. All right, and the last part says, which of the transformations creates similar but not congruent figures? Remember, we want similar but not congruent figures. Okay? Now, all of these make the similar congruent figures because size and shape does not change. But this is the only one that does not, which is a dilation, Because the size changes, the shape stays the same. All right, so there are all your answers. I hope this answers and answers any questions that you have.